Once, in a world that was soft and warm and smelled of sunshine and sweet soap, there lived a very small, very quiet Freckle named Spot. Spot lived in a place called the tip of the nose. It was a lovely spot, to be sure. It was high up with a wonderful view. From here, Spot could see two big, sparkling blue pools that blinked and looked at the world, and a soft, rosy valley that smiled and laughed. But the tip of the nose was a very small piece of land. And Spot was the only Freckle there. He was a perfect little dot of a friendly, gentle brown like a tiny speck of chocolate. He was very proud of his color. But being the only one of his kind could feel a little bit lonely. Every morning, the great golden sun would rise in the sky and send its warm, happy rays down to the world. Spot loved the sun. When its light touched him, he felt a wonderful, warm tingle, as if the sun were tickling him with its golden fingers. It made his gentle brown color feel a little brighter, a little stronger. He would watch the world go by. He saw big, colorful butterflies fluttering past. He saw busy little ladybugs crawling on green leaves. They always seemed to have friends. The butterflies danced together in the air. The ladybugs marched in a neat little line. Spot would look at his own little patch of land on the tip of the nose, and a tiny, quiet sigh would puff out from him, a sigh so small that no one in the world could ever hear it. He wished, with all his Freckle heart, for a friend. Another Freckle to share the sunshine with. Someone to tell his stories to. Someone who understood what it was like to be a sun-kissed, gentle brown. One bright morning, as the sun climbed high into the sky, the world Spot lived on tilted down. Spot saw a long, smooth plain stretching out below him. It was a place called the Arm. It looked like a vast, wonderful land of adventure. And as the sunbeams danced upon it, Spot thought he saw something. A glimmer. A possibility. A daring idea began to form in his little Freckle mind. What if he wasn't the only one? What if, somewhere on that long, sunny plain of the Arm, there were other Freckles, just like him, waiting for a friend? But how could a tiny Freckle, fixed in one place, ever travel? It seemed impossible. He couldn't walk or run or fly. He could only sit and be a Freckle. But the wish for a friend was a powerful, powerful thing. It was stronger than being small. It was brighter than being lonely. And so Spot, the little sun-kissed Freckle, waited and watched and wished for a friend. He sent his biggest, bravest wish out into the sunshine, hoping it would find its way. His journey began not with a step, but with a happy little wiggle. The child whose nose he lived on scrunched up their face in a big, sunny smile. For a moment, the world of the face changed, creating hills and valleys. And in that moment, Spot's view shifted. He was looking down a long, soft slope called the cheek. And it was the most beautiful color. It was pink. It wasn't a loud, shouting pink. It was a soft, happy pink, like the inside of a seashell or the petals of a brand new rose. The sun warmed this land, and the pink seemed to glow with happiness. It was a kind, gentle color, a color that felt like a warm hug. Spot had never been so close to such a lovely color before. He imagined that if the color pink had a sound, it would be a quiet, happy giggle. The warmth of the sun on the pink cheek felt so cozy. It made Spot feel brave. He thought that if a land could be this friendly and welcoming, then maybe, just maybe, his journey would not be so lonely after all. This beautiful pink was the first sign of hope, the first color on his great adventure to find a friend. He didn't know how he would travel further, but seeing that lovely, gentle pink made his heart feel a little less lonely and a lot more hopeful. He was no longer just Spot, the lonely Freckle. He was Spot, the traveling Freckle on a quest. And so Spot, the little sun-kissed Freckle, journeyed on, searching for a friend. The day grew warmer and brighter. The child went outside to play, running through the green grass, their arms swinging in the happy air. The great golden sun seemed to smile down, pleased with the world below. Spot, from his place on the edge of the rosy pink cheek, could now see the land of the arm much more clearly. It was a long and wondrous place, a smooth landscape stretching far, far away. And as the sun shone down upon it, the arm began to change color. It was no longer the pale color of the morning. It was becoming a beautiful, warm, and golden tan. The tan was a sleepy, sunny color. It was the color of warm sand on a perfect beach, or the color of a yummy cookie fresh from the oven. It was a calm and peaceful color, a color that made Spot feel relaxed and safe. It was different from the happy pink of the cheek. The pink was a giggle, but the tan was a soft, contented hum. Spot watched, fascinated, as the sun-kissed skin seemed to drink in the golden light. The tan grew a little deeper, a little warmer. It was like a cozy blanket of sunshine being laid over the land. This was a happy land. A land where good things could happen. A land where a lonely Freckle might just find what he was looking for. He felt the warmth seep into his own gentle brown, and he felt a connection to this new color. He was brown and the arm was tan. They were different, but they were both warm, sun-kissed colors. They were part of the same sunny family. This gave Spot so much courage. He wasn't just a visitor here. He felt like he almost belonged. The pink of the cheek was a friendly hello, but the tan of the arm felt like a welcoming door, inviting him in. What wonderful secrets did this warm, tan land hold? Would his new friends be waiting for him here? The wish in his heart grew bigger and brighter, as warm as the sun itself. He was so close. He could feel it. The adventure was truly beginning. And so Spot, the little sun-kissed Freckle, journeyed on, searching for friend. As Spot watched the beautiful, tan landscape, something magical began to happen. The sun shone with all its might, pouring its golden light down onto the child's arm. And in the warmth, tiny new things started appearing. At first, it was just one. A tiny, even smaller than Spot, faintly appearing on the warm tan skin. It was a very light brown, the color of cinnamon dust. It was a new Freckle. Spot's heart did a little flip-flop of excitement. He wasn't the only one. He wasn't alone. Then, another started appearing. And another. And another. It was like magic. All over the vast, tan plain of the arm, a whole family of Freckles was waking up to the sun's warm kiss. They were all the wonderful color brown, but they were all slightly different, which made it even more exciting. Some were a light, caramelly brown. Some were a darker, chocolatey brown, just like Spot. Some were a reddish brown, like autumn leaves. It was a whole garden of brown, blooming in the sunshine. This was the most beautiful sight Spot had ever seen. Each Freckle appeared so gently, like a secret being whispered onto the skin. It wasn't a sudden pop, but a slow, magical fade into being. This was the wonder of appearing, of coming into the world to say hello to the sun. Spot felt a joy so big it seemed to fill his entire little Freckle self. He wanted to shout a happy hello to every single one of them. He wanted to tell them that he had come all the way from the tip of the nose just to find them. He wanted to ask them their names and tell them his. He watched as more and more Freckles kept appearing, dotting the landscape like little constellations in a daytime sky. They were a family, and he was a part of it. He had found them. Oh, he had found them. He no longer felt like a lonely traveler. He felt like he had finally arrived home. The warm tan land was no longer just a place to travel through. It was his neighborhood, and it was filled with friends. The gentle brown of his new friends was the most wonderful color in the whole wide world because it was the color of friendship. But would they see him? Would they know he was one of them? The child, still playing, lifted their arm up high to point at a fluffy white cloud. And as they did, the landscape shifted once more. The part of the arm where the new Freckles were appearing came closer to the face, closer to the rosy pink cheek, where Spot was waiting. He was about to meet his new friends. His little Freckle heart tingled with a mixture of nervousness and pure, shimmering happiness. The moment he had been wishing for was finally here. And so Spot, the little sun-kissed Freckle, waited and watched, no longer wishing, but ready for friend. The world tilted and turned in the joyful way of a child playing. The arm, now dotted with a whole family of brown freckles, came to rest near the child's side. The sun continued to shine, and the freckles seemed to shine right back, happy to be together in the warmth. And then, the most wonderful thing of all began to happen. The freckles started clustering. It wasn't that they were moving, because freckles, of course, stay in their own special spots. But the way they had appeared, so close to one another, made them look like a happy group, a cozy little town of freckles. They were clustering together, not by walking but by being. There was a little group of 3 freckles near the wrist, like 3 best friends sharing a secret. There was a long, wavy line of them further up the arm, like a happy parade marching towards the elbow. And right in the middle, a beautiful pattern was forming. A small, light brown freckle, a medium chocolatey one, and a bigger, darker one had appeared so close together that they made a perfect little triangle. This was the magic of clustering, of creating something beautiful just by being near one another. Spot, watching from the edge of the cheek, felt a powerful pull towards them. He wanted to be part of a cluster. He wanted to be it in one of their beautiful, sun-kissed pictures. Just then, the child felt a little tickle on their nose. They lifted their arm, the one with all the new freckles, and brought their hand up to their face. The back of the hand, with its own little cluster of freckles, gently brushed against the child's cheek. And for a glorious, wonderful moment, the freckles of the hand and the cheek were right next to Spot. He was, for the first time in his life, part of a cluster. He was right next to a little cinnamon-colored freckle on the child's knuckle. He had never felt anything so wonderful. It was a feeling of belonging, of being connected. It was the opposite of being lonely. His gentle brown color seemed to hum with happiness, vibrating with the joy of all the other brown freckles nearby. This was friendship. This was connection. This was the feeling he had been searching for his whole life. But then, a cloud, as big and fluffy as a pillow, drifted across the sun. The world of the arm and the face was suddenly cast in a soft, cool shade. The bright warmth was gone. Spot felt a tiny shiver of worry. He looked at his new friends. In the dimmer light, some of the very lightest, newest freckles seemed to fade a little, becoming harder to see. Would they disappear? Would his newfound friendship vanish with the sun? This was the twist in his story, a moment of gentle worry. He had found his friends, but could he keep them? He watched the little freckle next to him. It was lighter now, softer, but it was still there. And Spot realized something important. Even though the bright sun was hidden, they were all still there, together on the same warm, tan land. Their connection wasn't just made of sunlight. It was made of something stronger. It was made of knowing they were a family, a constellation, whether it was sunny or shady. Friendship didn't disappear just because the light changed. This was the true meaning of belonging. It wasn't just about clustering together in the bright sun. It was about knowing, deep in your freckle heart, that you were part of the pattern, always. Just as he had this comforting thought, the cloud drifted away. The great golden sun shone down once more, bright and warm and happy. And all the freckles, light and dark, shone out again, a joyous, sun-kissed family. The little cinnamon freckle next to Spot seemed to twinkle, as if to say, "See? We're still here." Spot, the little freckle from the tip of the nose, was no longer lonely. He was part of a beautiful, clustering, sun-kissed constellation. His heart was full. His great adventure was a success. He had followed the colors of pink and tan and brown, and they had led him right where he needed to be. Home. As the afternoon sun began to dip towards the horizon, painting the sky with new, dreamy colors, Spot looked across at the child's other arm. It was just beginning to catch the evening light. He could see the warm, tan plain waiting. And he wondered, with a happy, curious heart, what new friends, what new sun-kissed clusters might be appearing over there. But perhaps that is a story for another day. Moral: true friendship is about finding where you belong and knowing that your connection with others is always there, even when you can't see it.